WrestleSTAR here, and in today's video we have two interesting topics. One of which is the influence from WWE CEO on WWE booking right now and where they're going creatively. The other is an interesting report by Forbes regarding the Brock's XFL and how much money they lost. And they lost some money. So with that being said, sit back and relax because this is going to be a fun one. So regarding Nick Khan, WWE CEO, right? He has made two interesting moves, and it's part of an overhaul. It's part of a vision that he has for not only the main roster, but NXT. So first of all, as previously covered on this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more wrestling content. Nick Khan came up with the idea of, okay, let's use main roster stars, send them down to NXT, do short feuds, repackage them, refresh them, whatever, a one-off, whatever, in regards to, in addition to helping NXT talent by working with main roster talent. But the general idea is, look, NXT's ratings had been on just a downturn, right? How do we turn the ship around? Well, they tried the NXT 2.0 rebranding, that didn't work. They tried repackaging the brand, bringing back the black and gold, that didn't work either. And now we're kind of in a hybrid mode. And they've found their footing, and ratings are starting to take off. But the likes of AJ Styles and The Miz and Natalya, now Baron Corbin, Mustafa Ali, and world champion Seth Rollins, they've been used in NXT for short feuds. Dolph Ziggler, he had a run as NXT champion. And so Rollins is now feuding with Braun Breaker, leading to a future match in NXT. Then you have the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Fightful Select actually had a report noting that when those titles were created, those in WB just didn't understand why they were created when you had main roster women's tag team titles that could just simply be defended in NXT when needed, right? And so now they're trying to right that wrong. Nick Khan reportedly came up with the idea of, okay, let's overhaul the tag team division on both male and female, but more importantly, let's drop these dumb NXT women's tag team titles. Let's unify them with the women's tag team titles. So in 2 weeks, Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler are going to go up against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire on an episode of SmackDown to unify those said championships. It was an idea that was made back in April after the draft, and so they're going to go with that. So the idea of boosting television ratings with the bigger idea of getting more, revenue from a TV network, likely USA Network, and his influence on the main roster with, okay, let's unify these titles as well. Let's do something with there. Nick Khan, he continues to make moves. Now, the other story is the XFL. And The Rock, Danny Garcia, and Redbird Capital, they lost their asses on this deal. Now, they paid $23.5 million to Vince McMahon after he closed the XFL for the second time coming out of the pandemic. They had about a 2-year build, a 1.5-year build, up to the inaugural relaunch season under their leadership. And it was much, much better, and they actually got a full season out of it with the Arlington Renegades by Bob Stoops as the head coach, as the inaugural champions. You knew they were going to lose a lot of money in this deal. So according to Forbes, although they got paid $20 million by ESPN for TV rights, they lost an estimated $60 million in the inaugural season, or since they've relaunched. Now the good news is the report noted that they expect to do $100 million in revenue next year. But that report did not mention whether or not they would be profitable or not, and how much money they would be losing if they are not profitable. Either way, it's an uphill battle. I think spring football can work, but unless you give people a reason to care, I don't know what you would do. Personally, since I'm an OU fan and Bob Stoops was, arguably the second greatest coach in the history, third greatest coach in the history of at the university, I watched Arlington Renegades games because I was interested. Other than that, I didn't watch anybody else's games. So That is the challenge there.